It's draft season as well. Draft in 6 days from this recording, July 29th. And even though he's could not join us today, our guy Kyle Sirik has a little bit of a breakdown here. Let's hear what he has to say.
What's up, guys? Sad I could not be on the podcast, but the NBA draft is next week, and I'm going to kick off the discussion for you guys. First, Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall pick. No doubt, in my mind, he's the best player in this draft. Obviously, there's a lot of talent, so it might not shape out this way, but I think you have to take Cade. 2, I'm looking at the Jalen's, obviously, Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs. Me, I'm taking Suggs. Basketball IQ off the charts. I actually expect Jalen Green to be the better player in his first year, but I think Suggs will have the better career. It's really a toss-up, 2 different type of players, but I'm taking Suggs. My number 3 prospect is Jalen Green, but I don't expect him to go number 3. I expect Evan Mobley to, who is my number 4 prospect, big man out of USC. A lot of potential there, just needs to put on some more muscle. Already a good scorer and rebounder. And then 5, Jonathan Kuminga, who to me is the biggest question mark of these top 5. I'm not sure what he looks like at an NBA level, but we're going to find out. And I think the potential is so high that he's easily the number 5 prospect. Other draft thoughts, if Scotty Barnes goes in the top 8, some team made a mistake. I don't understand why they think he's getting picked 6. Every mock draft, I don't see it. So, anti-Scotty Barnes top 8. A guy that will go where I think Scotty Barnes should go, which is around 13, 14, is Davion Mitchell, who I think is really good, should be a top 10 pick out of Baylor. And lastly, Cam Thomas will be the steal of the draft. He was getting mocked in the second round a couple weeks back. Now he's up into like the 22 to 28 range. I think he's for sure a lottery talent. Pretty much just Anthony Edwards with less athleticism, but a better shooter. And did similar things in the SEC that Anthony Edwards did. So look out for Cam Thomas. I thought Tyrese Maxey was a steal for the Sixers last year, but he was a lottery pick. Cam Thomas is my guy that Maxey was last year. So I want to hear what you guys think about what I said and what you guys think about the draft overall. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, so a lot to unpack there about what Kyle said, but a lot of good things. First of all, we can get this out the way from the door. Cade Cunningham is the consensus number 1 overall pick. The Pistons they'd go down in infamy if they did it again. If they passed on, you just can't. Especially if the streets are talking like this, you gotta just do it for pure pressure at this point.
Cade Cunningham's going to be like a really, really, really good NBA player. He draws a lot of comps. One that I saw the Ringer threw out there, which this should tell you all you need to know about the way that people used to talk about this man. A shorter Ben Simmons with a jumper, a.k.a. LeBron James. Yeah. They were calling Ben Simmons LeBron James when they were like, oh, if he gets a jump shot.
That's Luka. Yeah.
Right. That's just like a ridiculous comp, in my opinion, to make. But
so not Ben Simmons. His Ben Simmons.
Right. But I was going to bring up, it is very similar almost to the Ben Simmons draft where the entire year, everyone's like, yeah, that kid's the number 1 pick. That kid's the number 1 pick. And there really isn't much deeper to it. There was some Brandon Ingram buzz towards draft night, but it was pretty much wire to wire Ben Simmons. It's been the same way for Cade.
Yeah, we're fighting for number 2. Speaking of that, Kyle mentioned the Jalen Green and Jalen Suggs. I was a huge Jalen Green fan before he went to the G League. Obviously, him going to the G League, he played it a lot of times where I'm not watching. So obviously got to see more of Jalen Suggs than I did Jalen Green. But they both really impressed me coming out of high school and both impressed me in their 1 years, either in college or in the G League. I would probably have to go Jalen Green over Jalen Suggs. And I actually think the reverse of what Kyle thinks. Kyle thinks that Jalen Suggs is going to have the better career. Jalen Green is going to start out better. I think the opposite. I think Jalen Suggs is going to start out better and Jalen Green's going to have the better career. I just think I see Jalen Green's ceiling as much higher than Jalen Suggs is, but they're both going to be really good players.
This is like the Cold War of the NBA is the battle of the Jalens, who goes higher. Mm-hmm. You look at Jalen Suggs on the number 1 team in college, literally has a massive shot in March Madness. This guy's all over the NCAA. He is the NCAA's poster boy for all intents and purposes this year. Cade Cunningham on a lesser team, so that's why I make that point. Jalen Green, on the other hand, is now this newfound NBA G League route, sidestepping college, sticking it to the NCAA, even though the NCAA ended up changing their NIL laws. And you're going to see play out here if Jalen Green goes above Jalen Suggs. They're essentially commensurate. They're both guards. They both are named Jalen, and they're both top 3 prospects. Like, this is, in a sense, like the Cold War, capitalism versus communism. Who's going to win? Like, it just gives those vibes.
Domestic, yeah.
And I think with the second pick, we're going to see that battle go down. Now, I wouldn't count out Evan Mobley there. I don't think, and let's put on our Houston Rockets cap for a second, because I want to dig into this a little bit.
Right, okay.
If you're building the Houston Rockets, your team going into next year, I'll click off the notables that you have from this past season. John Wall closed the season strong. They shut him down. You have Kevin Porter Jr., who is showing flashes of like top end finishing ability. You have Jayshawn Tate, who I think finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year, 4th in Rookie of the Year, decent rookie. And then you have Christian Wood, who you signed to a very big contract, who plays the 4 for you. Do you pick with John Wall in mind? I think tells you where they go. If you say yes, they do, then I'd say they probably go with Evan Mobley and try and fit him in as their 5, as their center. If you think, you know what, they're not going to care, they're going to build for the future, that leans you more towards one of the Jalens, and in my opinion, I'd say Jalen Green's the better player. What do you think?
I think them having Christian Wood is going to make them stray away from Evan Mobley a little bit. Because he's your best player, that is your future. That's the guy you just signed to a big contract. If I'm going to choose to build, I'm not going to draft someone who's going to be in that star player's position. They're very similar players too, by the way. So if I'm going to do that, all things considered, I'm going to go Jalen Green. I think he can fit into the offense and be, a wing player next to John Wall. Jalen Suggs is more of a point guard, as Jalen Green is more of a shooting guard. I put him next to John Wall. I think he can be in the offense better.
So you said you're going with, I'm sorry, you broke up you say you're going with who?
I'm going Jalen Green. I'm going Jalen Green.
I agree with you. I think that he slides in very well, and you could maybe even play Kevin Porter Jr. at the 3. Funny enough, I love the Ringers draft guide, and they do shades of for their player comp. Mobley has shades of Christian Wood is his comp. Like, hey, if you like Christian Wood, we could get you another one of those guys.
Yeah, very similar. Another thing I wanted to comment on what Kyle said. He says his steal of the draft. My steal of the draft is James Bucknight out of UConn. And he draws my eye test draws very similar comps to Zach LaVine in his slashing ability, his explosiveness, his ability to shoot off the dribble too. He's becoming a much better 3-point shooter. And UConn had a quietly very good season. He was hurt for a little bit, but came back, exploded on the scene. So, coming out of a very, tough and tested Big East Conference, having a pretty good tournament as well. Like, he's my guy that I wouldn't be surprised go in the lottery where everyone goes like, really, James Bucknight? Like, I would not be surprised, especially when you start getting to teams, like the Kings, the Magic, teams who could use anything, like just best player on the board type teams. I think James Bucknight could fit into anywhere.
And it makes you wonder, because in my opinion, I think you start to look at him through the 6 to, like you said, 8, 9, 10 range. But can a sleeper be from the top 10 of the draft? That's more nitpicking. A guy who I have pegged, and he's probably going to go 10 to 15, is one of the European big men, Alperen Sengun. He's Turkish. You really should watch some tape on this kid. For an Eastern European, he may be one of the most athletic I've ever seen out of Eastern Europe. 6'10", perfect roller you could slide him in next to any guard that really works well off pick and roll. He can pop well, and his finishing ability, like the amount of times on this highlight reel, I don't know if you click on the name in the script, you could bring it up. This man finishes through the chest of people like he's like Dominique Wilkins or something. He's a 6'10" Eastern European dude. He does 360s in game. He does bouncing off the backboard
like this.
He's great. And he like all European born and bred prospects, very good with moving the ball, little undersized, but he's a guy who, when I look at steals of the draft, you put him on the Pelicans as their 4 or 5.
I'm looking at the Pelicans too, man.
You maybe put him as the 5 next to Zion, and he can kind of work that almost like how Sabonis is used in a similar way, where you could use him pick and roll. You can use him on the post. Maybe you get into a little bit of trouble when you go up against the Joels, the ADs of the world, but he's a guy who I have my eye on as someone who can really, but he's only 19, and I think he's a guy who could really grow into a pretty great player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Pelicans too. Like, the Pelicans are in a very peculiar situation where they just had the number 1 overall pick 2 years ago, and they're in a position to get another very high-level player to pair with that and really, like, cement their foundation and their core pieces moving forward. Like, 10 is a big pick for the New Orleans Pelicans.
It's also a big pick because take this into consideration for the Pelicans. When you look at Zion Williamson, that was just his second year in the NBA, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You now have, you want to talk about pressure. You now have 2 years to keep Zion Williamson, give him a reason to stay. If I'm Zion, I do not want to stay there.
You see them with the revolving door of coaches. You want this guy? Oh, you didn't like him? Okay. What about this guy? Oh, you didn't like him? Okay. Like, yeah, keep moving.
So if you're trying to play to Zion's strength, all right, we only have 2 years. We have to build around Zion. Kind of almost a borderline similar position that Milwaukee was in a year ago, 2 years ago, trying to build around Giannis in fear of him leaving. What position, let's say, do you take? Do you go stretch big? Do you go ball handling guard? I mean, they have a lot of guys on that team that theoretically should have like a role. JJ Redick has a role. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has a role. Josh Hart has a role. And those are a lot of guards too.
But all those guards are on the block right now. All those guards have interest from other teams. I think the Pelicans are going to target guards for that reason. And I think it might be why they haven't traded anybody yet. We got to see who we get before I see who I'm willing to go out the door. I don't want to put myself in a pigeonhole. Now I'm trying to fit a square peg in a round hole on draft night. But I do think they target a ball handling guard. So they have the liberty of trading someone like Lonzo Ball with high trade value on the market to now go get a nice veteran piece. And now we have a solid team to actually take into, the regular season. I definitely see them going guard. So you can get anybody like a Sharif Cooper, can easily go at 10 to the Pelicans. Players like that Jared Butler, who's going to be there probably at 10. Kyle mentioned Davion Mitchell, not as much of a point guard, but still a nice solid guard, could be there at 10. So they got options there in the draft. I'd like to see them go primarily guard.
So let's go back now, backtrack a little bit, get back to the 4th and 5th pick.
Look at this board, by the way. I don't know if
so yeah, dude, that's the board. The board for our listeners is progressing very poorly.
It's hanging off for dear life.
Dear life. There may be a clatter in the background. It'll be the board hitting the ground. But when you look at the 4th spot, we mentioned Cade Cunningham. We mentioned both the Jalen's and then Mobley as well. That probably makes up your top 4 in any sort of order after Cade goes. Now let's look at number 5 because Kyle had some takes about some guys that were for the good and for the bad that are slotted in at number 5. So let's just start at looking at the 2 forwards that are projected around this pick. Scotty Barnes and Jonathan Kuminga. You take your pick. Who are you taking and why if you are the Orlando Magic at number 5?
I don't want this to sound like hate because I don't hate Scotty Barnes, but I'm with Kyle. If Scotty Barnes goes inside the top 10, someone made a mistake. Someone made a wrong pick. I just don't, especially him painting himself as a point guard. And I think that 1 year at Florida State showed that he might be better off the ball in more of a forward spot than he is a 6'9", point guard. They just straight up Leonard Hamilton put him to the bench because he's not a point guard. He started coming off the bench at Florida State. And I think Jonathan Kuminga has the opportunity to be like a generational type talent. Just his size, his strength, his finishing ability, can shoot from the outside too. Like he's a little specimen that Jonathan Kuminga is. I think it's a no-brainer that he is. If it's a toss-up between him and Scotty Barnes, I think it's a no-brainer that you're taking Jonathan Kuminga. If Jonathan Kuminga would have went to the NCAA, he might have led his conference, his team, whatever. He would have led somebody in scoring. Like he's that good.
Here's my problem with drafting Jonathan Kuminga. Like the team comp of Orlando. How many times are we gonna do? Like, do you know the SpongeBob? How many times do we have to teach you?
Random scattered talent. They literally will take anybody at this point.
But here's the common thread between all the like Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac, Chuma Okeke. Like, quit it with these often injured defensive first, like wings, bigs. Stop picking them. You already have enough of them. Right. And both of these guys kind of fit into that description.
Okay. Scotty Barnes is more there than Jonathan Kuminga is. Jonathan
For sure.
Kuminga is more offensive minded. I was about to say that he's the anomaly of those four, but he is kind of still in that lane. But Scotty Barnes is sitting at that table with the rest of those three. They are the same. Scotty just calls himself a point guard, which I just don't think that he is.
He'll get used. I agree with you. I think he's probably more of a forward in the NBA. And look, there are a lot of great cases where you take a guy who either, like Kuminga, has a very strong athletic profile, or like Scotty Barnes, is somewhat versatile and is defense first and then grows that offensive game. We've seen recently Matisse Thybulle, granted he went in the 20s, as a player just like that. Kawhi Leonard, similar, he went later. So maybe top 5, top 10 is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I'm not down on him totally as a prospect just for the Orlando Magic. I probably, as you said, would take Jonathan Kuminga, which then makes 2 Ignite members in the top 5. That's a big one. That's a big strike in the Cold War.
I mean, Ignite already got their next. They already got their next wave coming in, so that would be huge.
So then let's just put a bow on our top 5 here. We have Cade Cunningham going to the Pistons. We have Jalen Green going to the Rockets. Number 3, actually, did we touch on number 3? I kind of skipped over it. Number 3, we have Mobley.
Yeah.
If Green goes number 2, we have Mobley.
No, Mobley at 3.
I think it has to be.
It has to be Mobley at 3. If 2 and 3 are kind of interchangeable to me, but if we have Green at 2, put Mobley at 3.
If it's either of the Jalen's at 2, in my opinion. Like, I don't know how Cleveland adds on another guard after picking Sexton and Garland.
Sexton and Garland, right? And Okoro, who's not a guard, but
right.
another wing player.
Closer to that range.
Right.
So then we have Mobley at 3, and then Suggs at 4 to the Raptors, with Jonathan Kuminga to the Magic rounding out our top 5. I gave my sleeper Alperen Sengun. James, do you have any guy specifically beyond Cam Thomas that you want to point out and, kind of plant your flag?
Not anyone big, crazy sleeper. I do just want everyone to look out for Sharif Cooper. This is a guy, it's a name that people know, but you didn't get to see him play in college because of his eligibility. Then he got hit with a COVID, then he got hit with an injury. So I believe he only played about like maybe 6 or 7 games total in his freshman season at Auburn. But this is a dude who is going to be the next, scintillating point guard, at least in this draft class. Very fast twitch, very, great vision for his size, great finishing ability around the rim, can finish with either hand, an underrated jump shot. Is going to be a master in the pick and roll, which in today's NBA, if you're a master in the pick and roll, you're going to find yourself on literally any NBA roster. So he's going to be a name. People got to watch out for Sharif Cooper. I'm a big believer in Sharif.
I'll keep him back in mind. One last guy before we head to the countdown that I definitely want to point out, who made some waves in the NCAA tournament, is Moses Moody. You need to find this picture online of him standing like this with his head kind of horizontal, and his left hand is on the ground and his right hand is on the top of the door frame. And he's only 6'4".
8 foot wingspan?
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, 8 foot wingspan?
Something like that. I would have to find out his exact measurements. I know that it is NBA, incredibly disproportionate to his body size.
Draft scouts just absolutely cream themselves when it comes to wingspan and measurables. Stuff that does not matter. They absolutely cream themselves when it comes to it. So
he is 6'4.5" with a 7'1" wingspan.
Yeah. That's really crazy. Someone's going.
So that's another guy where if you're a top 10, if you're the Pelicans, maybe and you want kind of that, if you're going to get rid of Lonzo and you want to take a chance on another guy who could be that kind of two-way player for you, maybe Moody goes top 10. He's a guy who, again, I think will shoot up boards, like you said, just because of that crazy wingspan.
Someone's got to say I can do something with that. Someone's got to have.
Correct.
Someone's got to say.